Kaylee.
Hey, Kaylee.
How many people in the audience have ever been shopping in retail for undergarments or apparel in general? While shopping, how many people randomly throw things in places or hang things in random places, or even bring your food or drink from the food court from lunch and set it in random places in the store? You just throw things like this, or set drinks down, just randomly. The reason why you don't do that is because hanging things in random places or throwing things in the store randomly or putting that food or drink down in certain places makes the life of retail employees much more difficult. I've worked in retail at Victoria's Secret for 2 years, so I have personally experienced this and know why it's much harder on their lives. We have to close down the entire store in retail. By that, I mean we have to straighten the entire store before we can go home. We have standards that we have to pay attention to, such as our panty table at Victoria's Secret. We have to put it in certain color and size order and straighten the whole panty table. We also have the walls of the store, so around the perimeter of the wall. You have to put tags in the clothes, you have to size them, put them where they're supposed to go. Putting things where they're supposed to go goes to the fitting room, because when you're in the fitting room and customers are trying on clothes, most of the time they leave them in the fitting room instead of hanging them on the rack outside of the fitting room where they're supposed to go. When hanging the stuff in the fitting rooms instead of putting it on the rack where it's supposed to go, we have to go into each individual fitting room and grab them instead of taking them from that rack and taking them where they're supposed to go. That just takes up more time for the employees. It takes at least an hour to close down a store. Well, at least our store at Victoria's Secret. We close at 9, and most of the time we don't get out of there until 10, 10:30, sometimes even 11 or 12, depending on the time of the year. The more misplaced items, the harder it is to close down the store and the longer it takes. The reason it takes longer to do this is because of all those misplaced items, the random panties from Pink in the Victoria's Secret department, or the random clothes that are just thrown somewhere that aren't supposed to go there. When we close at 9, most of the employees are trying to get home to their families or do homework or go to other jobs. Me, personally being a full-time student, and I get out at 10 or 10:30, it's hard for me to get home and do my homework and the other assignments that I have to do. The coworkers that I work with, some of them have 2 and 3 kids at a time that they're not getting home until 11:30 at night, and they already worked an 8-hour shift, so they barely see their kids during the day. When customers come in at 8:55 and we close at 9 o'clock, it takes a lot longer for us to get out of the store because we have to wait for them to go around and shop. We also have to wait for them to try on their items and then get to the register and pay for their items before we can even start recovering the store and get to go home. The first source that I found on the internet was Cosmopolitan magazine. Jim Roystone Clare wrote an article called 30 Problems That Only Retail Employees Will Understand. At least 8 of those problems were about cleaning the store, the standards of the store, customers coming in late, and things being misplaced in the store. An example from that source is number 23, when you want to close the shop and one customer is browsing so slowly, and that happens all the time. I can personally tell you that. That comes in with customers coming in at 8:55 and you are wanting to get out by 9:30 and they're shopping until 9:30. The other source that I use is mentalfloss.com. Jake Rawson wrote an article on that website, and it's called 13 Behind the Scenes Secrets of Retail Store Employees. Example number 8 was there might be poo in the changing room. Personally for me, I have experienced not that, but things similar to that. One time I was in the fitting room cleaning them out at the end of the day, and I reached my hand in this little bucket thing inside the fitting room, and there was a dissected mouse from a science class, so I guess a college student put it in there, and it just took me a while to actually be able to get it out and clean it. Another time I was closing down the fitting room, and there was throw up all inside the fitting room that the customer failed to tell us. Well, when there is bodily fluids inside of the store, we have to call certain people to come clean them up. We're not allowed to touch them. So it took about an extra hour before they would even come and clean it, which made me have to stay longer. The third source, by Christopher Hudspin, which wrote an article on thoughtcatalog.com, stating the only thing we're proficient at making a gigantic mess, then an unsupervised kid is said child's careless parents, at least toddlers, have small hands and undeveloped brains. These grown, full-size humans are capable of misplacing, unfolding, and tossing aside at indefensible rates. That's very true. Kids come into the store all the time, and yes, they make messes, but you would never think that they would make less of a mess than their actual parents, because the parents are the ones who are throwing around all of their things, throwing around random panties or clothing and stuff all around the store. That's very true. In conclusion, why you shouldn't throw things around the store or hang things in random places is because it does take that employee at least an extra 30 minutes to close down the actual store. This is why when you're in a retail store, you should ask an employee where to put your things, or find a trash can, or ask for a trash can to put your food and drinks in.